I'm about to show you a game that I played against Andrew Tang. He's known as Penguin Jim and he's one of the fastest chess players in the world. You may know him for playing 100 of bullet and blitz games back to back with Magnus and Hikaru. But I was playing with white and I played e4. He played e5. I developed my knight to attack the pawn. He developed his knight to guard it, and I played the Italian game against him. Now here, he plays bishop c5. This is the Giacopiano of the Italian game. There's two ways to respond to this. There's also knight to f6, but he plays bishop to c5. When someone plays bishop to c5, it immediately avoids the fried liver attack because the queen is able to take on g5. So I just decided to play d3 to continue with my development. Now he plays knight f6, which means if I go knight g5, he's just going to castle and then nothing is happening. So I decided to just get my king out the center, and then he plays a6. Now the purpose of this a6 move is actually to pull his bishop back to a7, because a lot of times in these types of positions, white want to play c3 followed by d4 or c3 followed by b4. So a6 ensures that the bishop won't get trapped. And another hidden reason behind this a6 move, it prevents my bishop from going to b5. So here I played c3, same idea. I'm trying to chase away the bishop, but he saw it and then he pulls back the bishop. Right after I'm finished with, I'm going to show you the actual game live so you could apply what I was thinking. Here I played rook to e1. Now rook e1 was just to control the center, protect my e4 pawn, so that way whenever I play d4, I don't lose my pawn. Here he finally decides to castle his king, and then I played knight to d2. This is just a typical maneuver. The idea is to go knight f1, knight g3, or knight f1, knight e3, or even bishop b3, knight c4 is also a possibility. So he plays d6 here, and then I played knight back to f1. And here I thought I made a mistake. It wasn't necessarily a mistake, but usually we should try to pull our bishop back. So that way, if the knight ever goes here, we're able to pull our bishop back to c2 and then play d4 in the future. But knight f1 was actually correct. He did play knight a5, so I had to give him the bishop here. So now he's going to be playing with the two bishops, and I want you guys to watch this video. If you're a noob and you want to see why bishops are better than knights, then watch this video. He took, I took, and then he plays h6. Now he plays h6 to prevent my bishop from going to g5. So I continued with the idea of knight g3. Again, it's the typical maneuvering plan. And then he played rook to e8, just getting his rook in the game. Now I played bishop to e3. Now the reason why I played bishop to e3 in this position is I just wanted to get rid of this bishop. Like if you look on the bishop, it's covering a very long diagonal. I mean, a move like h3 would be fine here because it prevents his bishop from going to g4 or his knight from going to g4. So bishop e3, he took, I took with the rook, and then he plays bishop to e6. So if you look on the position, we're just developing our pieces. Nobody's losing, nobody's winning. But the only imbalance in the position, and I'm purposely using those types of words so that way the noobs that is watching at least get familiar with some chess terms, you know. But imbalance basically means difference. So the main difference in the position is that I have two knights and the opponent has a knight and a bishop. So I played b4 because his bishop was pointing towards b3, and then he plays c6. So he wants to play d5, he wants to put his queen on this diagonal. That's usually the ideas in these lines. Then I played h3. I finally played h3 just to ensure that, okay, I don't want the bishop pinning my knight. I don't want the knight attacking my rook. And then he played queen to b6. Now, this was where I think it was, if it's not here, I'm going to show you where I could have played for a little advantage. So here I played d4, you know, just to get control over the center. He plays bishop to c4. It was right here, actually. So d4 is thematic. He played bishop to c4, and I played queen to a4. Okay, I'm trying to be honest. Maybe it's because I was playing against Penguin Jim. I was like, okay, let's just get the queens off the board so we don't lose by any tactics. That's not the right way to play. This is how weak people think. Don't think like this, but that's what I did. The way in which I could get the advantage here, if you notice, is bishop no longer covers the square, and this is an unprotected pawn. So I could have actually played the move knight to f5, attacking the unprotected pawn, and then if he tries to defend the pawn, I hit him with knight to h4 with the idea of playing rook to g3, and now I'll be attacking his pawn on g7. But I missed this idea. Won't miss it again though. So here I played queen to a4. He took, I took, and then he played g6 because now he's like, okay, I'm not gonna allow any of your knight to get to that square. So here I played queen a4, and queen a4 appeared to be a mistake. Again, I just wanted to get the queens off the board. And this is the thing. He purposely plays queen back to a7, which is an inferior move to keep the queens on the board. That's weird, you know, because pulling the queen back to a7 is not good. Now I just have a lot of space. So, and then I pull my queen back to a3, which was bad. Maybe I just didn't know what to do here, but all I needed to do was just play pawn to b3, and his bishop had to go back to e6. And then the only imbalance or the only difference in the position wouldn't have been the same once I grab the bishop, or I could swing my rook on the open file, then grab the bishop, then grab this pawn on d6, but that did not happen. I pulled my queen back, he played rook to e7, and then I played b4. I was just trying to be aggressive here. If you notice, my queen on a3 is actually attacking his unprotected pawn through my b4 pawn. This is called an x-ray, by the way, self-explanatory, x-ray, seeing through the pawn. So I played b4 because I was like, okay, if you take this pawn, I take your pawn and I'm chill. But he played c5, which means my knight is now under attack. So now I have to move my knight, because if I take the pawn, he's going to take my knight. But I don't want to play passive. You know my saying, offense is the best defense. So I was like, I'm not moving the knight. Let's play e5 and counter-attack the knight. Now, this was probably the biggest mistake that I made in the game. Because now, if you notice, his queen is pointing all the way towards f2. So he took my knight, I took his knight. He took my rook, I took his rook, then he took my pawn. And now I'm just down by a pawn. So he messed it up though, because when I played king to h2, he gave me a chance to come back in the game by playing queen to c5, which was a terrible move, because it actually allows me to take the queen. After he takes back, look at this. All I need to do is queen my pawn, get a knight on f6, and that's going to be a fork. So I now no longer have to worry about controlling this f1 square. So after I took and he takes back, I just leave the pawn, I allow the pawn to queen, and I just played knight to e4. So now he queened the pawn, I sack my rook, he takes my rook, and then I hit him with knight to f6 check, because now he has to move his king. Then when I queen my pawn, I simply get back my material. But the thing is though, black is still slightly better in this position. Why is black slightly better in this position? For one, he has the bishop, I have the knight, and as I said before, if you want to see why bishops are better than knights, watch this video. And then the other reason why I think he's slightly better is because he has an extra pawn. You know, I have 4 pawn, he has 5 pawn, and his king is a bit more active than mine. So once I check, he hits the knight, I pull the knight to a7, and then he's activating his king. Remember when I tell you guys what to do in the end game? Like, once you're in the end game, all your moves has to fall under the umbrella of, am I attacking a weak pawn? Am I pushing a pass pawn? Am I activating my king? So he was using the time to activate his king. I checked him on d5, basically helping him to activate his king. And then I pulled my knight back to e3 to attack his bishop. So now he moves the bishop back, and then I'm now activating my king because we're in the endgame. He plays h5, and again, I think he played the endgame so well. I kept on activating my king. Then he pulls his bishop back on this very long diagonal. So now I can't move my knight. So I played g3, because the strategy when you're playing against a bishop is, if you're playing against a light squared bishop, just put your pawns on dark squares, you know, and vice versa. Then the bishop is going to be useless. So he played a5, and then I played h4. So now I was like, my pawns are on dark squares, you have a light squared bishop. How are you going to win this game? So he plays f6 because he does not want my king to enter and infiltrate his position. I played knight c4 because in the end game it's very important that we attack pawns. He pushed the pawn, and then I pulled my knight back to d2. Why I played that move? Not really sure. I felt as if he was outplaying me at this point. And then he plays bishop to d5. This was such a nice move. This is what you call domination. I want you to have a look on the bishop and notice how he's already preventing my knight to make any forward move. This is what you need to do with the bishop. So I saw this and I wanted to activate my knight in another way. So I pull it back to f1, then put it on e3. But then he just pulled his bishop back. And again, it's the same thing. My knight has no forward moves. So now I'm panicking. I pull it back to c2, but then he started to activate his king. When I check him though, his king is not able to go to c4, so he had to go back to c6. I felt good here, and then I was like, okay, let's centralize the king, because he's trying to enter into this position, so I'm gonna go here and defend it. So he's trying to come through. I'm trying to prevent his king. And then he gave a check. This was where I was like, okay, should we just take the bishop? I couldn't have taken the bishop. If I take the bishop, then it's just losing. You know, I move my king, his king enter in my position. I move my king here, his king enter into his position. So I didn't do that. So I played king back to d2. I thought about it though, and then he plays bishop to e4. Again, the guy is just dominating my knight. I want you guys to see how persons use the bishop. You're going to be able to see the actual game in maybe the next minute. Let me just show you how this game ended. He played this and I pulled the knight back to c2. This was a slip, by the way. This was a slip. But again, I'm losing. But any move would have been better except knight c2. If you're down by a piece or if you're down by a pawn, you cannot trade pieces off the board. So I think I wanted to play something like king c1 here. Again, still losing, but he had to work. So I want you to watch the actual game now, because now you know exactly what I was thinking in the game. And if you have a comment, leave it below. I'm playing against Penguin Jim.
I'm gonna die.
He's 3100. Ah, shit. Alright, let's lock in. Let's castle. He's fast. Okay, let's do this. Knight d2. Now this is typical. Oh. Alright, he already got the bishop here, but that's fine. Let's go bishop e3. He's fast. Okay, let's play b4. Then h3 to prevent this. Then d4. And come on, bro. Let's go here. Queen a5 maybe. So he took. I'm gonna take with the knight. Bro, I can't lose this. He's 3100, but I can't lose this. He's fast though. He's one of the fastest players in the world. So I have to play fast. Let's go here. Just get the queens off the board. Let's go here. Okay, let me push this and then take this. Oh, how did he see that? What the fudge? Push. Okay, let's push. That was bad. What am I doing? What am I doing? Alright. It's not the end of the world. It's not the end of the world. Queen c5. Let's take. And then take here. Then go here. I'm threatening this. And I'm going for this. Oh my god. So let's take, check, queen. Too strong. I'm too strong. Now let's go here. Check. Hit the bishop. Get the king in the game. And then h5. Ah, shit. He's too fast. What to do? What should I play? I don't know what to play. It's drawn though. Okay, let's go here. Let's check. Good. Let's get the king over. King back. No, that doesn't work. Nah, that doesn't work. How was he finding out? Oh, that was a slip. No, that was a slip. That was a slip. That was a slip. Oh, that was a slip. Two things. If you want to get access to my training resources that I refuse to post online, you can get it in the link in the description for $5. But if you or your child want to get one-on-one coaching, there's also a link in the description for that as well. See you in the next one.